Hi, my name is Jacob Schaefer, President and Chief of Software at General Engineering and Robotics Specialists, Inc. We designed and built the Archway Perses for the best robotics demo days game. We programmed our robot in Simulink to make use of its graphical interface and ability to simulate a program before it's deployed to hardware. Our program this year is designed to give the Perses the ability to drive throughout the field, autonomously retrieve the pipe bundle, push the tower to the trash pile, install light poles, and secure the air compressor. We added many features to our program to maximize readability. We color-coded each portion of the program based on its function, added virtual value displays to visualize the program during simulation, and included comprehensive documentation throughout the program. The robot's control algorithm is divided into 3 subsystems according to the major divisions of its structure. Now I'll turn it over to Daniel Beatty for the extra controls and drive subsystems.
This subsystem holds the extra controls we added to our program to improve user interface. The first is left-handed control mode, in which several mission control buttons switch sides of the gamepad. And to prevent accidental activation, it is not intended unless 3 buttons are pressed in sequence. Another extra feature is precision mode, which has the output to the drive motors for final control of the robot's movement. The third and final feature is simulation mode control. During a simulation, operators can use a Logitech or Xbox gamepad to simulate the input of the VEX controller. We also included virtual controls for cases where a gamepad is not available. Now let's look at the drive subsystem. Our robot uses a 2-wheel tank drive system. We used a gamepad joystick to control each drive motor. These deadband blocks neutralize low inputs from the gamepad to extend battery life and reduce the motor noise. The values from these joysticks go to these switches, which cut the values in half when precision mode is activated. The signals are then sent to this state flow chart, which controls our robot's autonomous retrieval feature. This portion of the chart waits for a certain sequence of buttons to be pressed before entering the subchart, which contains our autonomous algorithm. This state drives the robot forward toward the pipe bundle. After stopping, this state closes the claw. The robot then drives backward out of the autonomous zone and returns control to the driver. In the event that autonomous mode is accidentally entered, we added this transition line that terminates autonomous mode if either joystick is moved. After passing through this chart, the values from the joysticks are sent to the motors, one of them being inverted for the left motor, since it is on the opposite side of our robot. Let's take a look at the arm subsystem.
These gamepad buttons are used to raise and lower the arm. The signals from these buttons first go to these switches, which disable their arm lift function when they are being used to activate left-handed control mode or autonomous mode. The values then continue to these custom blocks, which regulate the arm's acceleration for smoother movement. Finally, the signals are sent to the arm motors, being inverted for the left motor. Now we'll examine the claw subsystem. The signal from these gamepad buttons is sent to this stateflow chart. It toggles between 3 positions for a robot's claw, which is actuated by these 4 servos. We include another subsystem in our program that produces a 3D simulation of a robot in order to take full advantage of the power of Simulink. This portion of the model combines 3D models and Simscape's physical networking to simulate our physical robot in a virtual environment. After connecting our CAD models with joints and adding physics, we connected the virtual robot to the Perses control algorithm to produce a complete virtual reconstruction of our robot. This concludes the presentation of our Simulink model. Thank you for watching!